Hi, I'm BoDreay Fraser, the lead practitioner here at iHealCollective, and today I am here with Lindsay Foreman, and Lindsay is our new hypnotherapist and sound therapist. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, Bo. How's it going?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm really good.
I'm so glad, and I'm so happy to be able to have a hypnotherapist and another sound healer on the team.
Yeah, I think it's exciting too.
It
sort of happens serendipitously, honestly.
It absolutely did. It usually does. So tell me a little bit about you. Tell our audience a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Well, I'm from California and have been spending the last 22 years in Alaska, Juneau, Alaska, and been living kind of an eclectic life. Trying to integrate into maybe a traditional life, and it just didn't ever work out.
Yeah,
and I've just never really took the traditional path, and moved to Mexico last year with really just going to be seasonal, and it ended up everything sort of happened in a different way, and now I'm living in Mexico full time. I've been doing sound therapy. I've doing sound therapy and spiritual healing really for over 20 years.
That's quite a stretch.
It's a big stretch. And that's, kind of led me to keep discovering different modalities of how to heal and discover consciousness and connect with.
You yourself are a mixed modality therapist. You have more, you're not just a one-trick pony.
Yeah, what was that called? The Healing Arts?
Yeah, absolutely. And I did a hypnotherapy session with Lindsay last week. It was awesome. Myself, I was working on just to have a little bit more energy in the mornings when I was getting up. Mentally, my body was fine, but I really just, I spent a few minutes in the mornings just when I get out of bed. Maybe not that bad, but I wanted it to be me to have a little bit more of a cohesive practice. And I have more work to do, but it was definitely a big change into how I was introducing myself to the day, and I'm really excited to continue that journey. And I know Shannon had had her first session with you as well, and let me tell you, she looked so different. Before going into that, I picked her up and she was like, "Oh, I'm so tired. I haven't been sleeping well." And, I looked at her, I could tell. And then when I went by her house that evening, she looked completely different. And she felt so good.
Yeah, she seemed very brighter.
Yeah, that was
her spirit is brighter.
Yeah.
And I think what's really beautiful about that is that's like her true self.
That's right.
And that is our true selves. Yeah. And we are really, bombarded with things that sort of bog us down mentally.
Yeah.
And then they manifest physically. And whether it's, we're always perceiving this based on like past events, and depending on how much trauma we've experienced, like average days can seem really hard to get through when you don't have this internal resource of a way to just calm that down and get into a different state of consciousness.
And you were working a little bit with trauma release with me, actually doing some therapies with me in the last couple of weeks. And having some, so Lindsay's detoxing a little bit. Tell me just a little bit what's going on.
Well, my skin has been breaking out. It started really originally when I was 8 years old, brought on by trauma. Yeah. And then it's been dealt with really in this traditional way of my mom taking me to dermatologists and using steroids. And I've been told all kinds of crazy things by the medical field, even that I am allergic to all red food, including apples. So I wasn't allowed to have certain things, ketchup, tomato sauce. And it turns out that's really not true.
That's a weird, I've never heard specifications.
I was also told by a dermatologist that I was doing it on purpose as a child.
Oh, wow. I've never heard that either.
Right. But it had no follow through with like how to help a child that has those kind of powers. So, as an adult, starting to do this like deep healing for myself and just reflecting on sort of what I went through and what I'm going through and why. It was really to like, I think, gain this discernment of resonant and dissonant truths of, and maybe he is correct as far as doing it on purpose, but a lot of that is like if you read about children that experience a lot of trauma, they do things that would get the attention that's necessary to get nurtured. Yeah. Whether it is through making themselves sick or their body's just being sick from this lack of nurturing. So
and you've been kind of working that last stage of trauma and with yourself, with doing hypnotherapy yourself, with myself, with doing reflexology, and I guess you've seen in the last little bit a lot of this stuff start to come out. And we wanted to address that a little bit today because, you know, this happens to people, and I always say better out than in, right? So it's like getting these things out of yourself. This is not something that, you know, people are embarrassed and this kind of thing. It's like, no, it's like this is amazing. You're dealing with those deep-seated issues that you have, that we all have, on such a visceral level that it's coming out of your body on so many levels, and that's amazing.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. That's it. We were talking about that before, too. They're well the way to ascensions. It's like, whoa, process. It's not.
Well, it's beautiful in a way because, you know, it sort of sparked this knowing that there's something deeper within me that I'm not addressing. And then the way that I go about it, regardless of knowing sound, regardless of knowing, you know, NLP or hypnotherapy, meditation, and all these beautiful ways, I think we can still be very harsh with ourselves.
Yeah.
And very, on so many complex levels. And I think that with my skin breaking out, it gave me an opportunity to go through even probably what I suppressed as a young child. Because a lot of that's, I don't remember a lot of that.
I understand.
And there was just this heightened disassociation. So it's almost like reconnecting with that in a way, like brought it out even more. And there's some days that I'm thankful, but it is really hard. I understand to like have this mantra of like, I'm healing, I'm healing, I'm healed, when it's visually the opposite 100%. Or getting even worse. That can be really, can be really painful.
It is, and especially when we're talking about the healing crisis, where things seem to get way worse before they get a lot better, and that's a really uncomfortable state for a lot of people to be in, and that's usually the state people start freaking out, and it's not a comfortable situation, but all those tools that you have and that you are building to get there, that's what it's all about. It's about the journey, not the destination. And that makes you such a formidable and powerful person to be able to handle, you know, anything that's thrown at you.
Yeah. Yeah, really. And to understand, I think it's also a way to give me an opportunity I've had a very harsh relationship with my body for a very long time. Yeah. And it's given me this opportunity, which, you know, it's really up for me to take. Yeah. And to see for what it is as a way to accept and be a deeper part than this exterior form of, because in a way it's like using this exterior to protect yourself from being judged.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm always judging myself internally, and we are a lot of the time have this like critical, you know, inner dialogue going on
while we punish ourselves externally.
Yes. And
I have a great history with that.
You know, and I think that's really a common thing that's not very much talked about.
Agreed.
And I have no way of hiding this. If I put extra clothes on, it's hot in Mexico, so it makes it worse. Yeah. And then to put makeup on it, one, is weird, and it also like smothers the skin. Yeah. And then there's also a deep shame about it that, you know, sometimes I feel like that shame is meant for me to be punished. And yesterday I had this really deep release of like, it's just a bigger way to let go of being out of control. Like,
agreed.
Of all the
and
control.
Shame is something that I've, you know, my family to a degree, I put, you know, really instilled shame with me my entire life. And that has been one of the things that to this day is still a knee-jerk reaction for me, that I really had to like.
Controlling.
It's so controlling.
I mean, I don't really have to do much to you if you're doing it to yourself.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and we are our own worst enemies in that way as well. And, you know, regardless, you know, of the people in our lives that may not know what our triggers are or that kind of thing, we really got to get in touch with that, where that shame comes from, and how do we change the dialogue about that. And and hypnosis is a great way to do it. Tell me a little bit, you know, people have ideas about what hypnosis is. Can you give me a little bit of an idea about what you do for our...
Sure. Well, some of the misconceptions about hypnosis have been through watching it on television or on like stage shows where the control is I'm overpowering you.
Yeah.
I'm putting you into this hypnotic state, and then you're going to do, and basically it's making a fool of yourself or doing things that you wouldn't normally do if you were conscious.
Yeah.
It's almost like being intoxicated.
Yeah, I saw an X-rated hypnotherapy show once when I was younger. They brought someone in for a staff party, and this guy got all these people on stage, and the things he was asking people to do in front of their coworkers that they were doing, I mean, maybe he was a good hypnotherapist because they seemed to be out, but I was like, this is what this is? And I was like, why would I ever want to do that? Right. And then so as I grew up, and this was my third experience with hypnotherapy, all very different, that was we have to tell people that's not what's happening here.
Yeah, so I work with this modality of integral hypnotherapy, and that is really putting the power and control into what we would call in the hypnotherapy community is like you're the co-therapist.
I like that.
You're taking charge, and I'm a facilitator, and basically using your imagery, your goals, your subconscious, your ideas, and using that as a way to create this inner healing and this inner transformation of reprogramming your subconscious mind. And instead of losing control, they're using hypnotherapy in this way for pain management, so people have way more control. They're able to even go into their mind with their imagination and take their control and turn it up, turn it down. They're able to navigate certain medications to go to where they're properly supposed to go. They're able to have your mind be able to shrink tumors. It's just, and then really fundamentally changing this deep belief and limitation that people have and they get when they are nothing but subconscious, which is usually like 0 to 11 years old, which is where the majority of these deep-seated self-worth esteems come from.
And just like most therapies, it's not a one-stop shop. Like you don't do it one time and that's it. Like I'm very excited for my next 2 sessions because as you've explained to me, we're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper into that. Yeah. So I mean, I think that people are always looking for that quick cure to them. And like you did hypnotherapy and you'll stop smoking in 1 session. When it comes to trauma, however, and how we have been programmed our whole life to deal with this, it's going to take a lot of reprogramming in a different way to kind of shake that loose. So I think people need to have their expectations, I guess, in line for what they want to achieve, understanding that it's not going to be instantaneous.
It's not. It could be.
It could be.
Right. So could
not
be considered a limiting belief.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it can transform your goal and give you a greater understanding so you can have the capacity to go deeper because you're building a self-worth foundation. So one of the things, like with the certain protocols, it's usually sessions that are, if you want to do some work on certain things, say passing a test, or public speaking. It's setting those goals and it's really building a foundation to where you can go deeper with that work. And the thing with trauma, what they're finding is a lot of people have, like this one-stop shop of regression therapy. It's like you go back, you regress, and it fixes everything. But a lot of times people experience like too fast, too much, too soon. And there's not that foundation of this changing of a self-worthy person.
Totally. And I find that like within my work, when I'm working with traumas in the body, it's like I don't, we do talk about, what someone's experience, whether their father or their mother was happening in the biofield, but I don't actually go into, unless there's certain cases, into recreating the visceral feelings and stuff they were having. Like, to me, that doesn't matter. I can feel there's trauma there. I'm working on places there's trauma. Get it out of you any way that you can, and let's move on. I don't have to necessarily rehash that down to the day that, this has happened, unless my patient or client really wants to do that. I don't really think it's that necessary in my own experience.
Yeah, of course, it's an individual, basis, but we have protocols for that, and it doesn't even require, some of those don't require hypnosis. It's NLP techniques.
It's NLP,
where you go in and
which is neuro-linguistic programming, for those that do not know.
Neuro-linguistic programming, and it's something that really everyone can do, and whether it's taking unpleasantries of memories and anchoring them with something that you do like, so it's just like reprogramming your mind in that way, or even collapsing negative beliefs or collapsing memories of old trauma. And what's really beautiful is they found is like, so your brain I feel like your brain is just like this hungry child, and it's like if you give it exactly what it is looking for, so you can either like sit and talk about how hungry it is, and it's just like thinking and imagining like what it doesn't have and be in lack, or you can feed it exactly what it needs, and it's going to like take on that and just like absorb it, and happily do it, because our brains are always working towards pleasure or pain. And a lot of times change happens when we decide that it's either too painful to not try something different or to go towards pleasure. Like it's going to do something for you. There's going to be a benefit because those old behaviors are serving a benefit. Yeah. And so I don't ever want to go in and chastise somebody for where they're at in their process. It's more...
And that it is a process.
Honoring.
Totally. And even
that has like been safety mechanisms that they really needed, and their brains were smart enough to come up with these resources.
Yeah. Just because it's not serving us now didn't mean it didn't serve a purpose, when this all started, and I agree. Can you tell me, with yourself or maybe a patient, one kind of thing that happened that kind of blew you away with hypnotherapy? I might imagine there's a lot.
I'll talk about my husband, because I don't think that he would mind.
Okay.
So I recently graduated from hypnotherapy with this beautiful integral hypnotherapy course. I've worked with consciousness and meditation and mantra, which I believe is always like being in a hypnotic.
And that's kind of the foundations to that. It's just kind of, you seem like you're just kind of adding on layers to what you're doing, because you're taking another course, from what I understand, with medical hypnosis.
Yes, I'm going to do the medical and regression.
That's amazing.
With the same company, because they're fantastic. Yeah, they're fantastic.
What company is it?
It's such a funny name. It's like I believe it's called the Hypnotherapy Academy of America. And I got to tell you, I have had like bouts of insomnia off and on my whole life, and it hasn't really brought me a lot of pain, because I get up and I'm just like creative. Yeah. But so I woke up in the middle of the night and I didn't do something creative. I got on my email and was scrolling through, and there was an email from them, and I've never heard of them in my entire life, ever. Right? And so I clicked on it and just read about it, and I've contemplated doing hypnotherapy before, but I've done like different modalities. And so I was debating, but it just resonated so deeply within me. I just knew it, and I just signed up that day, and
that's awesome.
It was really one of the best things that I've done. But so my wonderful husband Mario has allowed me to do some of the inductions and practice on him with just working on very surface issues. Nothing super deep. And within the first session that we did, when it gets to this protocol, really deals with the self-esteem and the self-worth. I'm good enough, I'm intelligent, I'm innocent, I'm a blessing. And it's really you choosing what resonates with you to accomplish a goal. Like, what would a person that you believe has that, what do they have that you feel like you're lacking? And so it's really getting into that level, even on the first session, right, without going into anything but positivity. And you can just see, like you said, Shannon, it's the light is brighter. Their soul is shinier, because they're moving towards something that's real, their authenticity. And we just did his Door of Truth. Yeah. So the Door of Truth is a really magical technique that has like changed my life. And we just did Mario's this morning, and you can just see it. It's so fun, and it's your own mind. Your own mind knows how to heal itself. Yes. So you're using your own resources for you to find the answers. And it's, so to me, that is a success when someone is imagining in their mind a future that they know, and you can see when that happens. They light up, they smile, they're feeling it. And when your subconscious mind feels that, it knows it. It has a map for it. And we talk about this a lot in High Heal, about leaking light. When someone's able to pull it away from you, or you're just kind of giving it away. And that's, I haven't ever seen, outside of mixed modality and reflexology, of working on people,
I've had people get up and look completely different from when they lay down, and just like in a way that's shocking to both them and myself.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen that in any other modality to that degree until I saw Shannon, and I was like, oh my God. And I didn't quite have that experience, because every experience is different with that. But to see that, and I know I had a kind of an instinct with her that was going to be great for her. And it was crazy. It was so, her energy, the way she looked, the way that her tone of her voice sounded, I was just like, wow, in one session. So, I mean, I think that sometimes when you're working within all these different modalities, something doesn't work for you, pivot, try something else. Because I think if you give up too soon, you might be that one that last thing you're going to try maybe was the thing that would have given you what you needed at the time.
Yeah.
And help kind of your brain, your body, our 4 parts of the body kind of get that, because we're just conduits to their healing.
Yeah.
But that might have been the thing that really, got you to the place that you need to be. So keep looking. And hypnotherapy, I've heard, from the people that have been around me in my life, I have a couple of hypnotherapists that have told me incredible stories. And I think there's just so much that hasn't been discovered within this modality. And there's no, like you said, limiting beliefs. There's no limit to what your mind can do.
Yeah.
So there's no limit to what hypnotherapy can heal.
There isn't, because everything is mind. I mean, that's the law of the way that the universe works.
Yeah.
And there is an aspect of that is quantum healing, because basically your brain and your body, we're not computers. We are much higher than that. We are source energy.
That's right.
We're at a higher vibration, but the things that we're programmed with can make us seem like we're outdated.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And it makes us feel outdated. Because whatever is impressed in the subconscious mind is expressed in your perception. You cannot see what you do not know. And if you know that you are broken, if you know that you are unhealable, if you know that there's no hope for you, your body is going to respond. Your perception is going to respond. So that works. We know that.
Yeah.
So if that works, we know the opposite is true.
Absolutely.
If you know that you are a gift, if you know that you're divine, if you know that you're not only good enough, but more than good enough. Like, this is who you actually are. This is your authentic self. And what led me to that is through sound. Like, I have had those experiences, like firsthand, and experience with other people doing sound, because you're also altering your states of consciousness. You're getting into theta brainwave state, which is what children are in. That's subconscious level. Yeah. That's creation and imagination.
And within mixed modality, I use sound healing all the time. But I was so excited to meet you. I mean, there's levels to sound healing, and I would say that of all my modalities, that was probably the thing I'm the most of a beginner at, that I'm still, testing things and working things out. I mean, we do with all of that, but I think I have the most to learn in that modality. But when you rocked up and you had like all these crystal bowls and like everyone that knows me, I use tuning forks a lot. I use my drum, but these things are pure magic. So you rocked up, you had a whole full set of these, and you were guys come here, they're everywhere. And
I have the chakra set.
They're majestic. Can you tell me a little bit about these sound bowls here?
Yes. So the orange one is the sacral chakra. It's one of my favorites. It's super deep. And I can't quite reach the other ones just yet. I do that later. I want to
you can move your mic over.
Be bending over. Okay.
Yeah,
that's a smart idea.
Yeah.
So, and this is the heart bowl.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And that's your third eye.
Oh, that one just gave me shivers.
And the beautiful thing about these bowls is the resonant frequency can put you in, especially if you accompany it with doing your own chanting, your own mantra work, your own sounds, because they're emitting a frequency that we ourselves are able to tune to.
Yes.
And, it really connects us with our intention, which is everything. So using the intention of the bowls with your voice, because we are resonating particles of energy, we are sound. We're vibrating all the time.
Yes.
And our emotions have a frequency, our heart has a frequency, our blood has a frequency, our thoughts have a frequency. Yeah. And so when you get into different states of consciousness, you're able to access what you are through hypnosis, which is the subconscious mind. And then when you get into the subconscious mind and that becomes saturated in this positive belief systems about yourself, then you have access to the superconscious.
And we're going to have a sound bath here where you're going to go through, not in this show, but very soon, where you're going to go through and kind of show people this. And I was thinking about this earlier, actually. When I think of tuning forks, I think of fine tuning. So when I'm working with someone's in the biofield, and you have a lot of areas of disquiet, a lot of areas that the vibration is not very coherent. With tuning forks, I had to be there for a really long time if I'm just using that. So for me, to send somebody we work with the bowls is like just the resonance of that seems to be so much more all encompassing, and the drum is the same way. And then so if I can have someone working in the biofields that's doing that, and the tuning forks is more like the fine tuning of these areas where I think you can accomplish so much more work done on the patient or the client with using the drum and the bowls, that by the time they get to me, I'm doing tuning fork work. It's like, okay, I'm not having to spend an hour there to trade the coherence of a vibration. I'm spending minutes now. And that I think is so amazing, to mix modalities within the modalities of that. And I'm really excited. I don't know if I'll be the person that should be doing a sound bath on. I hope so. Or maybe it'll be Sean or one of our other.
Do it on everybody.
I know. And we're going to have a staff get together actually where we're all going to be, we're going to be sound bathing everybody.
The neighborhood.
Right.
When I moved to Chancones.
Right. Lucky. All of you.
When I moved to Chancones, we were renting because we bought this house, and the process was faster than most, but still took time. And we rented this house up in the hills, and there was a flat roof, and so I had the bowls up there, and every morning it was so magical because they would resonate throughout the hills. And so that's how I met the neighbors. And it turned out my neighbor was a yoga instructor who was like, oh, I'll just bring like 1 or 2 friends over, and we'll just do like a little bit of sound. She brought like 15 people over to my house to just do like a flash sound bath.
That's awesome.
It was one of the coolest experiences.
That's such a cool experience.
And it was just such a beautiful way to know that I was right where I was supposed to be.
Absolutely. And I hear you've been doing sound therapy in the Temescals up in Trancones with Yasmin, which is my favorite Temescal. Those ladies are amazing. I'm so excited. I was supposed to go this weekend. I didn't have a chance to be in there with you because I would love to. I mean, they use music and that kind of thing in sound, but to add the element of the singing bowls in there, that must just be next level.
It opens up portals, So the first one, I love them. I love them so much, and like they're such a part of like my heart here, and they helped me even through the process of coming here, being seen. I think through the beginning process of doing way much deeper work. And they've just become my family. And they invited me for the first time to do the sound bowls on the equinox last year in November. Not this November, last November. And then it just so happened that they casually told me it was also their 7th year anniversary, so like no pressure at all.
Not at all.
And all I did, because I didn't want my ego to get involved in any way, which is almost impossible, but I just wanted to come really like pure, so I just like swam in the ocean like 7 times until the Temescal, and it was one of the most magical. Because we were all chanting in there.
That's amazing.
And like the bowls, are awesome, but it's really that connection to your voice that really connects you to spirit. It connects you to God. It connects you to source. It connects you to whatever your higher self is.
That's amazing.
It really is, because it's an imprint of like your soul frequency. And the pure that is, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. The pure that is, like the pure tone, the more you're authentically able to speak your truth, you're not only you're able to hear your truth, you're able to access higher levels of consciousness, you're able to clear your pineal gland because you can see the truth, and so you're no longer susceptible to all of this illusion. And once those are cleared, but it's really working with that root chakra of building the foundation, just like we do in hypnotherapy. Absolutely. Of like, you have to have a foundation. Otherwise, I don't know if you've heard stories with people that go up into like higher levels of chakra work, sometimes experience really scary things because they don't have this really solid idea of who they are. And it's influential and it's unstable. And, maybe that's their process. I'm not saying that's good or bad in any way, but I just think that there's such a beautiful thing in empowering yourself with your own frequencies, tuning your own intention. And then you're right, with the bowls, you know, and having it be in this broader way, sound just knows where to go.
Catalyst. It's absolutely amazing. And unfortunately, fortunately for you, Lindsay's getting married in January. Unfortunately, she won't be at the Greater Reset this year with us. She'll be there next year, though. But that being said, we're gonna have a staff get together at the house, and I want to have one for the community as well, where they can come around and experience kind of the sound as well. And obviously, Lindsay's taking sessions as well. She's working out of iHeal Clinic here or in Tronconas. She's doing work there as well. Although her bowls are all here right now, and don't take them away. They're so beautiful. We could talk forever, but unfortunately we got a little bit of a late start today and she's got to drive back. But thank you so much for being here. And this is to be continued. This is just the introduction for Lindsay. But yeah, once again, we'll see all of you guys at the Greater Reset in end of January, the 18th to 21st, I believe, in Morelia, Mexico. It's going to be amazing. I'm a speaker there this year, as well as a lot of our staff are running workshops. And we're so excited to be there and to be a part of that again. Like and subscribe, please, and follow us on our social media and iHealCollective.com. And Sean's telling me something else.
We want to hear some comments.
Oh yeah, drop us some comments. Tell us what you think.
See a singing bowl demonstration.
Yeah, tell us if you want to see a singing bowl demonstration or what you'd like to see from iHeal Collective. We are open to ideas. Thanks again so much for coming, Lindsay, and I look forward to working with you in whatever capacity that means in the future. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I feel like it's very dynamic and really creative, and I'm just excited.
It's authentic.
Yeah. Certainly authentic.
Very raw.
Certainly has to be.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Hey friends and family, I'm BoDreay Fraser here from iHeal Collective, and I have some fantastic news for you. We are going to be returning to the Greater Reset in Morelia, Mexico in January. And even better, I'm privileged enough to be one of the speakers. Oh my God! The Greater Reset is the answer to the WEF and what Monsanto Klaus Schwab is calling the Great Reset. We are doing it better. We are simply saying no to mental slavery. We want to make choices for ourselves, not becoming slaves to the increasingly corrupt governments, organizations, and unelected, unaccountable consortiums of elites trying to tell us what to do. Yeah, I'm not down with that. And if you're not down with that, you should definitely check it out and connect with your people. This conference isn't about waking people up. Been there, done that. Solutions in healthcare, solutions in food production, solutions in energy production, solutions in education for children, and solutions for connecting our communities worldwide. Some of the speakers that I am so excited to see are Derek Brose, the creator of the Conscious Resistance Network, Miriam Gomez with the Freedom Cell Network, Romero Romani talking about open source tech, the D. Leons talking about sacred geometry, Sean Hawkins talking about open source farming, Emma Saran talking about a New World Council for Health, Paul and Lauren Bell talking about organic farming, and so many more. And let's not forget some of the most spectacular artists, King and Merlin, 33, and can't forget Illuminati Congo. In addition to this, there are activities and social events, live music, and also some incredible workshops, some hosted by iHeal Collective practitioners. The time to connect is now. The time for action is now. The information is in the description below. Get your early bird tickets now. They just went on sale before they're sold out. And I hope to see you all there.